Hi, welcome to the new episode of Sportsy. Let's aim sports. Today on 6 June 2021, we are celebrating 1 year completion of Sportsy. The journey which started on 6 June 2020 couldn't have been more exciting. Today, we are privileged to host a lady whose journey is built on grit and determination. Dr. Deepa Malik, who is the first Indian woman to win a medal at Paralympics. She won the silver medal in the shot put in 2016 Paralympic Games. She was previously honored with Arjuna Award in 2012. She has also been conferred the prestigious Padma Shri Award in 2017 and a Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna Award in 2019. She created a new Asian record in Asian Para Games 2018, and she is the only Indian woman to win three consecutive medals at Asian Para Games in 2010, 2014, and 2018. Dr. Deepa Malik, who has continuously risen above all odds, braving just below paralysis for the last 22 years. Winner of 5 President of India awards, 4 Limca World Record, 3 international awards, 68 national and state medals, 23 international medals. Padma Shri, Khel Ratna, and Arjuna awardee, Dr. Deepa Malik is India's first paraplegic woman biker, swimmer, rallyist, and India's first ever female Paralympic medalist. She is enabling other people with disabilities through her foundation, Wheeling Happiness. Dr. Deepa Malik has been recognized as the Woman of the Year 2019 by the International Paralympic Committee and also served as a citizen ambassador to New Zealand. Dr. Deepa Malik has been appointed as a member of government's All India Council for Sports and is currently serving as the President of Paralympic Committee of India. Dr. Deepa Malik, a member of Honorary Prime Minister Modi's high-level committee for celebrating 75 years of India's independence. Please welcome an Iron Lady whose journey is built on grit and determination, a lady who is India's pride and President of Paralympic Committee of India, Dr. Deepa Malik. Hello, ma'am. It is great to have you on a platform. Today on 6 June 2021, we are celebrating our first year of Sportsy. And the journey that started on 6 June 2020 couldn't have been more exciting. And today we are really privileged to have you on our platform. Uh, it is not only about your achievement on sports, but the way you have had your journey with the grit and determination, being an inspiration and motivation to so many people. And it is a dream for anybody who follows sports to get a chance to talk to you, see you, and watch your journey, ma'am. It is my honor. And thank you for accepting my invite.
Thank you. It's a special day and heartiest congratulations. They say the beginning, when well begun, is half done. You've already completed one very successful year. And what I must congratulate you for is that you're very inclusive in your interviews and your approach, because you're also introducing the para athletes, the stars, the heroes of para sports. I have seen your earlier episodes, and I am very proud that a lot of my para athletes are getting exposure through your interviews. So thank you for that.
Yes, ma'am. That is what it is like. I don't think there's any more inspiring journey that we can get. When I spoke to Neeraj or Pooja or Navdeep, Mansi, it shows you the way of life that we take it for granted.
Yes,
Uh,
we agree.
yes, as we have read so many things about you that you had an army upbringing, and what we have heard, you've always been active in your early life.
Yes.
But did you ever consider sports as a career then, or it was just a way of life?
It was just a way of life. I think my DNA is of outdoors. I am a happier soul when I'm out. It could be any activity. It could be riding. It could be traveling. It could be going on a picnic. And somewhere I think we had that culture of fitness. Like we saw a father going for the morning PT and the evening games.
Mhm.
There was in his routine a dedicated time given to sports that I think just came in naturally, that once a day you have to play whatever. But sports became a little serious in college. When I was in the boarding in Sophia College, Ajmer, I joined the college cricket team. Then I also joined the cricket team and got an opportunity to be part of the first women's cricket team, which was being consolidated in state of Rajasthan. But that was a very brief stint. After that, I got married, and I married a sports person, son of a very eloquent sports person. My dad-in-law was, he still holds the records of Indian Military Academy in sports. So yeah, physical fitness and activity was innate to my family and to my in-laws' family.
So, ma'am, that shows the zeal that you have, and I think that is what we get to see in the whole journey. But just following back on one incident of 1999, in 1999, the journey that we have seen up till now is the incomparable inspiration and motivation for all of us. But for you during that specific period, what was your inspiration and motivation? How did you come out of all those things?
I think for me, motherhood was a great inspiration. I have always seen my parents lead with an example, and that's how we emerged to be the positive thinking and active citizens of the country. And that is exactly what I wanted to pass on to my children. I never wanted them to remember me as a sad, abla, bechari, dukhi, apang. You know, physically, maybe I was faced with a challenge and I had no control on that because it was a medical condition. And post surgeries of the spinal cord, I was left with paralysis, chest down. But what was in my control was my mental well being, and to do best with what I was left with. Take my rehab seriously, take my physical fitness seriously, learn the new body, and be accepting about it. मतलब सोच में negativity नहीं, because otherwise probably I would have infected my children with the same thing, and especially my elder daughter was herself hemiplegic at that point of time due to a head injury. तो मेरे लिए पेरेंटिंग डिसेबिलिटी ने एक्चुअली इजी कर दिया, क्योंकि एक फिजिकली चैलेंज बच्ची को मुझे उसकी डिसेबिलिटी से बाहर निकालना था. तो लीडिंग बाय एग्जांपल बिकेम द बेस्ट रूट.
Real wow, ma'am. It's I don't think you can have any more. The way you put it, it's everybody has their own journey, and as people say that every life has a story, but only few make it into 70 mm. So I think this is what we get to hear in whatever you say. But
Thank you.
ma'am, within 10 years, we have you actually went and competed in Raid the Himalayas and Desert Storm. We all know about your love for biking that you had and motorism, but how did actually the mental aspect that you spoke about actually help you to thrive for something which was never done? Nobody had a license to drive. All those
Correct.
things were the things, and you managed to not only get a license, but actually went ahead and did those two amazing rallies. So how were what was the time for that?
So those two rallies are the rallies written about, but I have also done Royal Rajasthan Rally, won a podium on couple class. I have done speed sprints. I have done West 100. I have done Agra Taj Rally. So they're not just two rallies. And I am now very integral part of the Motorsports Women Association. I am one of the committee members. The Women Motorsports Federation has just started, and association, and I'm very much helping them form policies for women motorsports persons. Um, See, I think the love for outdoor was the DNA, and then every opportunity to prove ability beyond disability, to give a shock treatment into the society that I was called ambulance की सवारी. टैक्सी वाला हाथ देने के बाद रुक नहीं रहा था. एम्बुलेंस की सवारी ने एम्बुलेंस में बिठाइए. As if that is the impression around people using wheelchair that needed to change. I was being judged as a patient sitting on the wheels of a wheelchair. That was something which destiny offered me. I had to convert it to the choice of wheels I loved. And I wanted to give momentum to my life, mobility to my life in the eyes of others. And these rallies became a medium for doing that and bringing about a change.
Wow. And as again, but how much of a cliche that line sounds, but I think you're proving. I think you're giving me phrase for everything that you've been talking about. People throw stones at you, and you convert into milestones. I,
Yeah, I mean, I probably have learned the ability to churn all the negativity into an outcome, which is not only a personal achievement, but it also changes something in the society, in the country, and it becomes larger than a personal initiative. It becomes a community initiative.
Amazing, ma'am. And now, from your love for biking and motorsport, we come to the glorious career of when the that you have had before, uh, which started with swimming. And as you said, that swimming was really something that helped you build the arm strength. At the same time, it is something that really helped you to come to the competitive sport. But when we saw you cross Yamuna and getting into Limca Book of Record, uh, we know you are swimming, and we have heard some stories about people lining up next to you, the local people. But what was going through your mind? What is that feel to cross Yamuna and with this state?
So I think that was again churning negativity into positivity because I was getting nowhere internationally in swimming. In India, obviously, I was the only one in my disability category, the first woman to swim,
Yeah.
etc. But when was positioned against amputees, their body was shorter, lighter, and they did not have a spinal cord injury, so they had control over their abdomen, glute, oblique muscles. They did not have surgery between the shoulder blades, only their legs were amputed or the legs had polio. But their shoulder muscles were strong. There was no stitches or surgeries between the shoulder blades. So for me, my upper body was also not as strong as my counterparts in international competition. And similarly, my body was way longer, heavier in the water, which would not give me the speed and agility. And on top of that, I was not getting heated swimming pools in the winter months. So regularly, I was not able to keep up my daily practice. My body does not have temperature control. And if I had a competition in December month, I had to go relying on my preparations only till September, which is not justifying my training and my using up the expenses to go abroad just because I was number one in India and I was nobody internationally. It didn't feel right. And it did hurt me when someone said, Madam ka theek hai, madam ko tour milte rehte hain. So I wanted to prove a point that I am a good swimmer. I have the intention of working hard, but I did not want to leave swimming as a quitter.
Mhm.
That's why I crossed River Yamuna in 2008. I proved a point. In summer months, on 15th June, I had done that, and that became an international world record also later on. So, and after that, I shifted gears in 2009 to athletics.
Yes, and that is the amazing part that I think you have mentioned somewhere, that the swimming help you build a upper arm strength,
Yes.
and you actually use that towards all the three sports that are using the upper arm: javelin, shot put, and discus.
And it is
So
the best possible exercise for spinal cord injury. The hydrotherapy releases spasms in the body. It gives you blood circulation, cardio, without hampering any injury to the body, because the
mhm,
buoyancy of water helps you
right.
and protects you from any injury. So swimming I still do, like a cross training process.
Wow, and that is something that we get to hear about your love for swimming all the time. But uh, when when the move happened to athletics, and honestly speaking, ma'am, you started when probably 90% of the athlete retire,
Yeah.
and so because you started in the first Asian medal came in 2010, and so do you think the mental the mental aspect actually define the age and the physical aspect?
Yeah, like I remember in one of the interviews, Martina Navratilova said that the ball doesn't know my age.
Wow.
Really, the spear or the discus or the shot put, they didn't know who was holding it. They only knew the force that was being applied on it, and the force can only come by the hard work that you do, the training that you do. Um, so the strength, the diet, the nutrition that you take to throw that, and the will.
Yes.
I had all the ingredients. So age was just a number.
Wow. Yeah, the proof of the pudding is what we get to see. We see the whole pudding, amazing with the cherry on top. So, uh, but ma'am, I just you compare across all the three elements: javelin, discus,
Yes.
and shot put. For an athlete, how tough or easy it is for you to switch between them? Is and again, because technique is different, the instruments are different. At the same time, your mindset is different. So,
Absolutely.
how does that work?
See, sometimes you're not left with choice. So beggars can't be choosers. What happens in Paralympic sports, off and on, for a particular category, a particular event doesn't come. We take example of Devendra Jhajaria. He won a medal in 2004, and then for his next turn, he had to wait till 2016. Almost
Yes,
12 years in his disability category, the throw never came. Since he did not develop another sport, he waited for his turn for 12 years.
right.
I did not have time to wait because I already joined at 40.
Yes.
So, whatever sport in my disability category was offered, I tried to adapt to that. And it was kind of a survival of the fittest.
Mhm.
So, it was more a survival. I mean, javelin, I have created 3 consecutive Asian records in 3 Asian Games, but my Paralympic medal is for shot put.
Yes.
And the last, at the age of 48, for the first time, I participated in discus and I got a medal there also for the Asian Games. So it was, yes, a lot of learning, unlearning, and relearning. But I think it was more for continuity to win and, to get medals for the country, we had to switch.
Yeah. And ma'am, the way you said it, it was a survival of the fittest, and I think you survived amazing. And I think you proved that you 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 give me anything, I'll throw it away and I'll get the medal. Uh, so so ma'am, with this, there
It
was a
was a
story.
lot of hard work. It was a lot of discipline. I mean, people are worried about today's lockdown. There's a lot of talk around mental health for being a social recluse. At least people have social media to their, to their utility. They have phones, mobiles. They can be watching so much. For me, it was being a social recluse and not socializing, having a totally different kind of a routine that my age ladies were having when they were enjoying movies, parties, kitties, travel. I was just sticking to a room and only following a very strict regime of training for 10 long years.
Hmm.
So that was a lockdown for me, where I was not even allowed to kind of stay late watching and looking at the screen of a mobile phone or internet because it would disrupt my training. I had to wake up at 4 in the morning and be at the stadium at 6. And it was like a continual process. So people often ask me, this lockdown doesn't bother you? I said, no, it doesn't because I'm so used to these lockdowns. Any athlete, any sports person would probably be so used to a lockdown. I mean, in this emotional sense. Of course, it does hamper your training on ground sometimes, but yeah, I'm talking about the mental well-being.
Yes, correct, correct. So, ma'am, before moving to the work that you're doing towards the Paralympic sport in India, I had one question. Just in about 2012, when you could not participate in London Olympics, London Paralympics,
Yes,
because the whole male contingent went there, and
yes.
from there to 2016, when you become the first Indian to win a Paralympic medal.
Yes.
How were those 4 years? As you probably just touched upon that point about lockdown and mental stability, but those 4 years for an athlete
Four
is
years,
tremendous.
I did feel deprived because I had given up my full-fledged restaurant business. I had left my home after 2010. I had shifted to Delhi, and I lived out of a room, leaving a big, huge farmhouse. And this move was sort of, difficult for the family also to accept because everybody wondered at 40, where does she want to go and play?
Yeah.
There were no policies, there were no recognition around the sport. From 2010 to 2012, I worked very hard, not just in the field, but also in terms of policies, in terms of fighting for ADPAR, training programs, etc. And it was a delay in visa. My application of visa was submitted way after the date of the competition. And I would have qualified and taken that one slot. But that one person in the team delayed my visa process. And I missed my London Paralympics. And that seemed like a work not complete. And I often laugh. I said, मैं शायद औरतों की सलमान खान हूँ, एक बार कमिटमेंट करके मैं खुद की भी नहीं तो तो मुझे वो जर्नी कंप्लीट करनी थी बिकॉज अगर मैंने स्विमिंग करी तो आई मेड अ वर्ल्ड रिकॉर्ड, बाइकिंग करी आई मेड अ लिम्का रिकॉर्ड, मैंने रैलीज करी आई मेड अ रिकॉर्ड, आई wanted to touch the highest point of sports also, and Paralympics and a medal in Paralympics probably was the one.
Yeah, it was
It
delayed
was the
but not
challenge.
denied. It was
It was
delayed
the
but not denied.
Yes, those 4 years were tough because everybody was saying, "ठीक है, madam, participation पे भी तो अर्जुन अवार्ड ही मिलता." तो अर्जुन अवार्ड तो 2012 में आपको ऑलरेडी मिल ही गया है, लंदन नहीं गए तो क्या हुआ? एंड आयरॉनिकली 2012 29th August was the opening ceremony of Paralympics, and I was getting my Arjun award in India. It came across as a trophy of compensation. It didn't feel good, you know. It's as if फोटो खिंच गई है आपकी प्रेसिडेंट के साथ, पैरालंपिक्स चले जाते तो फोटो नहीं खिंचती. Don't console me on my award. It's not a consolation prize. I'm going to make it worthwhile. And then I practiced and I practiced and I practiced. I made another record in javelin in 2014 Asian Games. But by the time the final list came out, it was shot put.
Okay.
And I barely had 11 months to get there in shot put. From the day of qualification to the day of, winning the medal. It was a journey of doubts. It was journey of doubts imposed by others. How is she going to do the new technique? She will never be able to make it. She's too old to win a medal. Her diet has changed. Her entire training has changed. Who is going to coach her now? She will do coach. So there were a lot of elements of doubt around, and so much so that I was dragged to the High Court. That selection has been done in a cheating manner. So taken to High Court for a throw of 4.48, but I got a medal with a throw of 4.61.
Wow. It's as that's what you said, right? Everything is you made happen. Whatever you touch, you got the record recognitions and everything. So, ma'am, as you said, the Arjuna Award was not a consolation that you had, but you converted into a Padma Shri, you converted into Khel Ratna, and it is the list goes on for you to collect the award. Do you think the athlete really gets going with this kind of validation from the government? What is the feel?
Of course, it's a recognition of your hard work. It is a validation of your journey, the sacrifice that you have made. You have made 130 crores Indians proud, because whenever you won a medal, वो आपका नहीं है, वो पूरे देश का है. India wins a medal. Deepa doesn't win a medal. So, you have contributed to the history of the Indian sports. I mean, that's a huge contribution. You have given years and decades of your life to earn that. And in return, if government gives you that honor, and coming from the first citizen of the country, the president of the country, it means a lot. It boosts not just your own morale and your journey, and it is appreciation for you, but it also shows that how inclusive the government is when it comes to para sports, and how involved the government heads are in the world of sports. But it also adds responsibility, because they say the head that wears the crown also wears the weight. So we have to be very careful around that award. We have to keep the grace, keep the honor in your own lifestyle, in your mannerism. And it also is a humble reminder that it's your turn to give back. You know, if sports has given you so much, each one of us should give back to that sport.
Excellent. Ma'am, and as you're talking about giving back, now after an amazing career, you are a president of the Paralympic Committee of India. Uh, and you mentioned over a chat, you spoke about accessibility issues and you spoke about a lot of other things. Uh, how do you think that we actually, as a country, can actually be better on accessibility? And what is your vision for Indian Paralympic sport?
See, the fact that an athlete has been chosen to head the entire federation, it itself speaks about how athlete centric now the whole vision is.
Right.
So there's always be the athlete's perspective, which will be put on forefront and on priority. My vision for parasports in the country would be definitely more sporting facility in terms of infrastructure. I'm very happy that the policies are now falling in place. Our fundings from the government, cash rewards, job opportunities, everything is at par with the able bodied. So I definitely don't see a difference there and a struggle there. The struggle definitely is on the grassroots. The struggle is definitely as of now in creating more and more areas of infrastructure. But that is a not just around sports. That is a larger perspective where our country needs to focus, and each and every citizen. You know, we keep waiting for the government to do it. Nowhere government says that don't make an accessible building. Nowhere the government says that don't make an inclusive sporting arena. It's when on a human level, a committee, a society, a federation, a architectural project on sports, when they are designing it, they have to be inclusive, and they have to reflect honorable prime minister's vision of leave no one behind. So it has to be a collective effort now, and para sports have arrived. The statistics says that we are making our country equally proud, and these are mainstream sports. So I definitely want to work on grassroots levels, have more district sports, more competitions, more awareness programs, more train the trainer programs, get more classifiers qualified as per IPC standards in the country. Yeah, for me, this has been a rough ride because when I took over as the president, of course, the election itself went into the court. Then it took a while for the courts to release the orders. Then we regained our suspension, was revoked. And after that, the COVID happened.
Yes.
Again, a huge challenge because no other president, no predecessor could tell me how to run a federation, how to have an annual competition training calendar, how to design the training and fitness from home for athletes, because it has never happened before. So again, it was a huge challenge. It is a huge challenge. And as an athlete, I can relate to the dilemma of our athletes. But everybody's pulled it off very well. And there have been certain heartbreaks because lack of travel provisions and lack of visa provisions. And so I do feel sad for a few of them who could have definitely achieved the qualification. Uh, but then we are all in it together. This is a universal situation where no individual can help.
Right. And this is so true. And it is the whole athlete journey is driven around those 3 years or 4 years of work towards that one day of glory that they get. It's like Usain Bolt says that I run for 1,000 days to get those 10 seconds in 4 years,
Yes.
right? So, and we exactly understand talking to so many athletes that I've spoken to Neeraj and Navdeep and Pooja, and everybody had so much of things to talk about you, ma'am. That is what I want to touch upon. It is about the current situation that a lot of programs were getting done at the district level to
Yes.
make sure the sanity, that you maintain the sanity and
Yes.
give the mental
We work
satisfaction.
very closely with the athletes for their mental well-being, and a huge thank you to Ministry of Sports and Sports Authority of India. They have been regularly conducting webinars around mental fitness, nutrition, physical fitness. We also had our own set of webinars. Um, we make sure our athletes are participating in the IPC webinars as well. So thankfully, COVID-19 has taught us the positive use of information technology. And it has brought us closer. It has made our communication faster and smoother, which was lacking earlier. So now para athletes have understood the need to have a smartphone, the need to learn about information technology, and that will only widen and broaden their horizon in terms of acquiring more knowledge around their sport.
Yes, and ma'am, my last question to you. Honestly speaking, I can go on for the whole day asking you so many questions that I have, but I'll probably pick some other time with different thing. But I have one last question to you, ma'am.
Yes.
Uh, as a president and an active member of the community, what is the vision for the next 5 years if you have to understand as per the Paralympic Games in the country and representation internationally? And also, where do you think that we have a possible challenge or opportunities to create a bigger impact for the India to become a sporting nation, and the role that a lot of like NGO like Lakshya Sports, Go Sports playing in the supporting all these things.
Yes,
What's
we
your
have
view?
OGQ supporting us also.
OJQ, yeah, OJQ,
Yeah, a
OJQ.
lot of para athletes are there. See, in my 5 years vision from now for Paralympic sport is definitely with United Nations intervention and collaboration with IPC, with all the international bodies now calling it Olympic Paralympic Games.
Yes,
Logos are being launched together.
together.
Village and the sporting area is common. And so this inclusivity and bringing the parasports into mainstream will also change the outlook of the society towards physically challenged people. They will be seen as active members of the society. And I can already see that because there's so many government programs where para athletes are leading as role models, whether it is election commission, Swachh Bharat, Beti Bachao. So you can see that they are playing an active role. Even the corporate industry is changing. We see a lot of change, even how the advertisements are placed. I personally have done commercials, proper commercials. I have been on a soft drink bottle. So the fact that entities like OGQ, Go Sports, Lakshya, they all are including parasports in their curriculum. Everybody's understood that parasports is the next big thing for the country. Paralympic sport is going to put India on the global map in a big way. You know, now that we live in a world where wars and battles are not appreciated, the only way you can establish, your power and your presence, I think sports is one major such ground. And from this platform, I want to make an appeal that when a para athlete goes to play and represent the country, they don't take a 12% or a 8% of the Indian flag. Because often I have heard this, oh, you guys, you're just 12% of the country. But we don't carry the 12% flag, we carry the complete Indian flag. And we represent not just the 12%, we represent the 130 crores, the 100% population of the country. So people have to accept us as mainstream, which is happening. Media is playing a major role. Social media and platforms like yours are playing major role. I'm really, really happy that most of the sports are now being reported. So in 5 years, I think we are going to grow many folds, and the biggest powerhouse of sports will be para sports.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. And as you said, I know while you're speaking, I was getting goosebumps. It's about the whole passion. It's the representation. It's the tiranga that you wear and the opportunity that you have to carry, and it is inclusive. I think the inclusiveness is so important that we're talking about. We were fighting about men and women, and then able and disabled. I think is the inclusiveness is something that is so important. It has to be taught at the school level.
Said I have not missed it. Like I'm saying, I have been celebrated, welcomed, whether it was my village cup, whether it were the corporates, whether the governments, any you name a sporting award, and I have it on my collection because I have never been excluded for being a disabled athlete. So my country has changed, uh, and it has changed for the better,
Yes.
and it is changing every day.
Yes, ma'am. And that is what these are the what is the sound music to my ear or everybody's ear in the country who breathe by sport, love sport, drink sport, eat sport, whatever you want to call it, and that's the way of life. It just makes it as they say, right? Sports is the greatest teacher, and the sports field the greatest classroom that you can get. And if we have the guides like you, I think we are looking at a really bright future. Ma'am, I asked one question to all the guests that I get to host is one message that you have to all the viewers and listeners who are uh, of this. We have all the kids watching it. We have parents watching it. We have people who are interested in sports management industry are watching it. So one message that you want to give it to everybody.
I think sports is an amazing tool which not only keeps you fit, it keeps you mentally happy and agile, but it is also a great tool to bring people from different cultures, backgrounds, different kind of looks, different kind of bodies come together. It is a very big unifying factor. It inculcates a sense of belonging, sense of patriotism, um, sense of discipline, um, sense of self belief. It is a character builder. And if all of us have a character which holds the qualities of being punctual, being fit, being mentally positive, uh, having sportsman spirit, learning to fight against odds and come out as a winner, uh, brave it in the low times because there are times you lose, there are times you win. So they know how to handle success and defeat both. Then we are going to have citizens of a country who all hold great values. And the whole character of the nation is going to be so positive and so fit. So I think play sports, encourage each other to play some sport because it's a huge healer every way.
Thank you, ma'am. I don't think we could have had any wonderful message or any better message than this to all the viewers and listeners. And it is my pleasure, our pleasure to listen to you on our platform. And it's really appreciate your time and all the fun chat that you actually. Honestly speaking, this was the probably the first interview I was nervous before the interview.
Oh,
Uh,
oh my
uh,
God. I hope I didn't scare you.
No, so I think the pep talk just before that I think really helped. So thank you for that, and
Thank you,
uh,
Sid.
it it is my pleasure to have host you and on a special day for us as well, and the year of Olympics, year of Paralympic together. I think it is really appreciate your time, ma'am, and thank
Thank
you.
you.
Wish you all the best for all the endeavors that you have, and as I said, I'm just a call away for any kind of assistance that I can give in the whole
Yeah.
journey.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this. God
Thank you,
bless
ma'am.
you. Wish you much more success in bringing about sport as a healthy way of life.
Thank you, ma'am. Stay
Thank
safe.
you. Thank you. Bye bye. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking and thank you for sharing. But please do subscribe on our channel, Sportsy Says, and help us spread the word about Sportsy. We go with the same handle, Sportsy Says, across all the social media platform as well as the podcast platform.